Shalom, shalom. This week's Parsha is Parshat Toldot. And there's some message in there that I believe is so applicable to us today, the Jewish nation, and most good people in the world at large, that I think we can learn from the story of Yaakov and Esav. When we're told that Esav had gone to the fields and he had come back, he had been hunting, and the narrative tells us that he was ayef, he was tired. Now, this word ayef is not just, as we say, oh, I'm tired, I need to go to sleep. Ani ayefa, ani ayef. That's not what it's trying to convey to us. It's a deeper type of tired where you've lost all your spirit. You're in a form of depression where you have no hope. And the narrative tells us that he was ayef. And then when he comes in and he sees that Yaakov is prepared this lentil soup, he even says himself, he said, please pour some of that red stuff down my throat. And he says, I am ayef, I am tired, I am depressed, I have lost it, I have nothing left in me. And he calls the lentil soup this adoma zah. He doesn't even have the strength to call it by its proper name. All he can see is the red, like the blood, like the life force has come out of him, and he's attracted to it for the redness, for the source of sustenance and life that he thinks can be hopefully reinvigorate him somewhat. And Yaakov says, well, I'll give you some, but you have to sell me your birthright. And to which Esav replies, well, what good is this birthright to me, because I'm going to die anyway? And he cut a deal. Sure, go ahead, take my birthright, just give me. And we're told that Yaakov gave him the lentil soup, he gave him bread and something to drink. And then in the pasuk we're told these words, which I think are very telling. It says, Vayachol, Vayesht, Vayakam, Vayelach, Vayavez, Esav, Etabachora. So, which means very choppy. He ate, he drank, he got up, he went, and he scorned his birthright. Now, I think right away, if we're going to be told that he scorned his birthright, it really should have told us right away when he was giving up his, right away. He scorned his birthright and he sold it to Yaakov. But it doesn't tell us that, because I think there's a lesson why it comes here after all this description of what he did. Now, what happens to people, and I speak about this unfortunately with experience myself, is when they get to this point of depression where they cannot see any hope for the future. It's the same word, ayef, that was used for the Jewish nation when they were in Mitzrayim, and after they thought that they were having a savior and there wasn't. So they couldn't listen to much because they were so ayef, they were so tired and depressed and lost of hope that they couldn't believe in any sort of salvation, couldn't see any future for themselves. Now, this is the same thing that happened to Esav. He was feeling this total sense of loss of hope, no future. And therefore he said, I don't have a future anyways. What's the point of everything? Fine, give me this because nothing means anything. And this is what happens when we get into this mental state with no hope left. And so, but really, to tell you the truth, after he would have this come home and he had this potential of being in the house with his brother and eating food, and, he could have, just by getting some food and rest and aligning himself a little bit, maybe he could have pulled himself out of it, but he didn't do that. And once he ate, it says he ate, he drank, and he got up and he went. And then he scorned the birthright. Why? Because after already, when he had done this and he finished with the whole episode, and he was left, and he had a little bit more strength, and he was left now with this knowledge that he sold his birthright and that his future he handed away from him at his own will and choice because of his lack of hope for the future. Then he scorned it. It was a decision that he made afterwards because he felt like, well, what am I going to do now? And so what does it mean anyway? So it doesn't mean anything. And then he started to say, what is it worth? And he started to hate Yaakov very passionately because he looked at it, as we're told later, that Yaakov stole the birthright from him. When he willingly sold it on his own, he gave it over to him. Now, this unfortunately has a very familiar ring to it. There are people at times that make certain decisions to keep themselves downtrodden, who see no hope, who don't try and pull themselves out from their lot to make a better life for themselves when they have potential and they have opportunity time and time and time again. And then what they do is they blame their brother because they hate him, because they see that he worked, he didn't get hopeless, he believed in a future, he believed in himself and the God within that there can be future. Even when we don't see a future and build a life for ourselves, and that causes hatred to people who don't do that. And it causes them to vehemently hate because they want that and they're not doing that. So instead of picking themselves up and making a brighter future, they just look. And we know that Esav, Sonei Yaakov, it's an ongoing thing because he refused to pull himself out of there by himself. Now, this, I think, is something that we as a nation, thank God, so far have been blessed that we always hang on to God's promise of a future. And we've seen the blackest black days that there possibly could be in our history, the Holocaust and all sorts of other death and persecutions. And October 7th, the most recent and heart-wrenchingly painful. And we see black days, but we believe in a hope. We believe in a future. We believe in God. And you can watch, countless videos of our people coming together and singing and dancing in faith of God in our future and our nation, our brotherhood, and that giving them strength and then them doing what they need to do so that we can get there back to a bright future. So my message is that we should never, ever, ever lose hope. Because once we lose hope and once we give into that depression and we think that something's hopeless, we make a hopeless future for ourselves if we believe in it and we perpetuate it. But if we believe in the possibilities, if we believe in the goodness in the future, if we believe in ourselves, our nation, our people, if we believe that man can be good and do good ourselves, then the future is a beautiful one. It can be a beautiful one. And I pray for this, not just for the nation of Israel. I pray for this for the whole entire world, wherever they are, in whatever countries they are, that you believe in yourself. You believe in the power of good to defeat evil. You always have hope for a future, hope for democratic values, hope that, everybody should be good to one another and love one another. Love builds, hate destroys. We don't want hate. We don't want destruction. We want to build. We want to be better. We want to come together and have a bright future. And with that, I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.